Welcome to the Essence of Homeschooling podcast, brought to you by the umbrella school, Start Academy. We empower and equip you to cultivate the authentic homeschool lifestyle where freedom and relationships rule.
And your social studies, if we jump into that now, in your lower grades, your social studies, really all the grades, it includes a lot of different areas. It's going to include your history, and sometimes we think of those things synonymously, history, social studies, but it also includes geography and map work with your little ones, and they can do things with maps that are like in the form of a puzzle, maybe. Like you've seen those puzzles that are the continents, just the shape of the continents, things like that. And also government and civics, which are big words for little people. But it just means being a good person, being a good citizen, picking up your trash after you have lunch at the park, or learning about your country and the world around you, your city, your family, your neighborhood, the jobs that people have, the world around you.
That's great. The jobs that people have, it's that real world practical one. Plus, kids are interested, right? They see a policeman, they want to know about the police, field trips to the police station, the various jobs at the grocery store, right? The butcher, the baker, the candlestick maker, sorry, couldn't resist. The fire station, the nursery, and I'm talking about the gardening place, right? Where the plants are, because they can go, and then it's a great way also to pull in science and learn about plants. So there's so much in the jobs that people have that work for learning.
Yeah, and along with that, you can use real books. Charlotte Mason liked to call them living books. No matter what you're studying, social studies, science, really anything, using real books to help support what you're talking about.
And as you mentioned before, Beautiful Feet, they have a geography curriculum as well. It pulls in maps. They have a variety of different curriculums, so it doesn't always have to be just what you think of as history. It can be more social studies, it can be more maps, geography, it could be your state history. I know they have a California history curriculum. And then, of course, in Colorado, there's quite a few choices. One online is Confessions of a Homeschooler. You can also go visit museums, historical sites to make your own living history curriculum for state history.
One way we kept track of what we were doing in history, or really with geography, was to get a sketchbook and make it like a big scrapbook. So if I did have a map in there, depending upon the age of the kid, right? Sometimes it's just you need to know what the continents and the oceans are, what a river is, what a state is, what a country is. And others they're labeling more in depth, but things that they need to know: which way is north, which way is south, east, and west. Where would you find yourself on a map? There's a great book for really little kids that is Me on the Map. It's understanding that here I am, here's my room, here's my house, here's my street, here's my neighborhood, and how big our world really is, because then it gets up to the planet we live on and the universe. And it's a way to teach basic map skills in ways that they understand. But having that sketchbook to keep everything in helped as well. And I like the idea of the national symbols. And every state also has its flower, it has its bird, it has those different things. So you can have those national symbols, those state symbols, and keep a collection of those as well. And at the younger grades, teaching them the bald eagle, the national anthem, the Statue of Liberty, the Liberty Bell, the founding fathers, things like that. That's your civics and your government from that early age.
And again, thinking about music, you can get CDs that have all the patriotic songs that you can just pop in the car.
Then you can try foods from all over the world. Library books are great places to find recipes,
Mhm.
but so is Pinterest.
We used a curriculum called Galloping the Globe, and it really was just a book with a whole bunch of ideas. So there was maps, there was recipes, like you said, Michelle, about exploring the countries. There was hands-on drawing. It was an easy and fun way to tackle some of the geography terms and learn about countries.
Good one. For some reason, kids always seem to be interested in ancient civilizations too, especially China and Egypt, for some reason, seem to be those attention grabbers. You mentioned pyramids earlier. They like to make those little models if they can, or like you said, stack the blocks or whatever. So those are fun. And those lend themselves super well to crafts and trying different foods.
Videos and documentaries out there as well that you can add on to studying about ancient civilizations.
Right. And use that with discretion based upon the age of your children. Too much on the video. The younger they are, they won't need it and they won't comprehend some of it. But your second, third, fourth graders, great. But for your littles, their basic history of who's in their family, what place each person holds, right? That is still a part of social studies.
Yes.
That is still part of history because the history is your family. Where did you come from? What kind of things are important to your family? What does your dad do for work? We talked about jobs other people have. What about the jobs people in your own family have and what that means? You can even talk about the family tree, the grandparents, the great grandparents.
Yep. Aunts and uncles, cousins. Yep. That's important to kids. And it's school. It's social studies.
And even timelines are a great visual way to help your kids to see how it's really just a day by day, year by year kind of thing that happens. And seeing where things fit on the timeline is really great.
Mhm. Anytime you can have a visual, that's good.
So I think Stacy mentioned as far as curriculum, Galloping the Globe, we've said beautiful feet. What other things stand out as curriculum at this time in social studies? I remember liking My Father's World,
Yes.
but specifically their countries and cultures because I wanted the maps and it was a great way to have fun in the lower grades. And that's probably where we really started the sketchbook idea to use as a scrapbook because then they had their passport and then they had pictures from all over the world where they traveled through other family members who actually traveled, through postcards, through different things like that that they could keep in, and they could draw the flags and they could do things like that.
That's fun.
The Magic Treehouse books were always a hit in my house, and some sticker books for geography. There's quite a few different brands out there. You can find inexpensive ones at the dollar store. You can find more curriculum-based ones, but anything where kids can have that tactile learning where they can place a sticker on a location also helps to learn.
Yeah, and I think maybe for your slightly older, lower grades, the Story of the World books or audio by Susan Wise Bauer and books by the Delaire couple. The Lucky is one of those. There's one on George Washington, Ben Franklin, and
Thomas
they may not work
Jefferson.
for your tiny people, but your slightly older kiddos. Those are nice resources. And the Sunlight curriculum also has great book lists as well. You can go take a look at those online and purchase either through them or pick them up at your library or used bookstore.
And another great book list is that Read Aloud Revival. There's just suggestions. And again, of course, you're going to hear it from us over and over. Read. So we will recommend places that have excellent book lists. Beautiful Feet, Read Aloud Revival, Sunlight. They're all over. My Father's World.
Classical Academic Press has a good list as well.
Did you guys enjoy any videos during history time?
When the kids were a little older, I'm not exactly sure about the age appropriateness of these, but it's the Drive Through History series. I
Mhm.
feel like they're probably older elementary. What do y'all think?
I think a little
I think they're
older.
older.
Yeah. I'm not sure if they have any for younger kids, but we liked those.
Mhm. Liberty's Kids was a program put out by PBS several years ago that is really good. Again, for your maybe older, lower grade kids or middle elementary too.
That's great. I think that's great. How about science, y'all?
At this age, it's really less about curriculum, especially if you want something that's free or affordable. And it really is super easy to just follow their interests, talk to them, pick up on what they're looking at, whether it's nature or pets or rockets, like you were saying earlier, cooking or their own bodies, all sorts of things that you can pick up on and riff off of that. So let's say they're interested in penguins. And so you go to the library and you find books on penguins. And then you decide you're going to do penguin crafts. You go on Pinterest. What's a good penguin craft or a penguin snack? What can we put together to make this little hard boiled egg and some black olives look like a penguin?
Mhm.
And then telling your friends about penguins using those verbal skills. So all kinds of things that you can just use that as their interest as a springboard and go with it. And you don't want to kill their interest in stuff by schooling it to death, but you can still work with their interest to hit that science piece.
And it happens everywhere you are, right? Every conversation, the natural everyday conversations, science can be in the grocery store. Where do things come from? That kind of thing. Science is out there on the nature trail. And nature centers are a great resource for science because in the lower grades, they offer, much like the library will have reading time, nature centers may have nature walks and they may have a naturalist teaching on a certain topic that they'll also combine with a craft.
There's a lot of fun experiments you can find online or in library books. Just using your regular household supplies, you can build a volcano. You can do the Mentos in the bottle. Just make sure you're outdoors because it will go everywhere.
Yes.
Things like that were just fun because every kid likes to cause an explosion or make a mess, use finger paints to do something. And it just gets them interested in the idea of science that you can then build on for the other years where you're actually going to be using a curriculum.
Mhm. Our kids loved using magnifying glasses.
Yes.
And so you'd find a bug and pull out the magnifying glass. And when they were a tiny bit older, but really still in lower elementary, the grandparents got them a microscope, a kid friendly microscope. Boy, did they have fun with that.
Welcome to Start Academy. We are an umbrella school that fulfills legal reporting requirements for homeschoolers in Colorado. But all of our services like transcripts, diplomas, IDs, and coaching are available no matter where you live. Don't forget to check out our store for homeschool essentials like attendance logs, planners, report cards, and DIY high school transcripts. Whether you need help with paperwork, planning, support, or guidance on your homeschool journey, Start Academy is here to support you. Visit theumbrellaschool.com to learn more.
Lots of fun little things. And you can get those sort of microscope type things that you can actually carry with you on your nature hikes or to the park and to observe things in nature. It was super fun.
Did either of you do nature journals? And what were those like?
Yeah, we did. We got them just some small sketchbooks like you were talking about, Michelle. And I had just been in the classroom long enough. I knew I had an opinion about colored pencils. I definitely like the Prismacolor brand. They're just such nice pencils. They sharpen really well and they last a long time and the colors blend really well. And so we would make it a special thing. Take care of your pencils, your colored pencils, and we would get our backpacks and go to the park or go on a hike. And we'd find a nice place to sit down and use it as let's just draw what's in front of you. So maybe that day it was pick a flower or pick a leaf or pick a bird or whatever you're looking at the time that was nature related. And we had a lot of fun with that, even when they were young, kindergarten, first, second grade. It's doable.
And even a weather journal, especially out here in Colorado where it changes so often. But you can talk about weather as science,
Mhm.
right? And you can talk about the different temperatures that impact weather, right? So the colder the temperature is, if it's raining, you might actually get freezing rain or you might get snow or things like that. There's a great way, and this is just daily life that is happening.
Looking at the stars at night,
Mhm.
phases of the moon.
And
And
most
you
areas
can,
have an astronomy club that are more than happy to have children come and visit and have a part in astronomy. That was a fun time for us when we were doing astronomy when the kids were little.
Mhm.
my kids liked playing with the phases with the of the moon with Oreos.
Yeah.
You take the Oreo apart and you have to scrape off a little bit of the white filling to show the different phases of the moon.
That's a fun one. Or how
And
about
you
layers of the soil using pudding cups, like graham cracker or different kinds of marshmallow in the pudding to make those layers. Super fun. Anytime you can put food in stuff.
Yeah,
Yep.
food, that's a
Gummy
real
worms.
treat. You need the gummy worms in the soil, definitely.
Yes.
Worms in the soil.
Yep.
Magic School Bus was always a big hit in my house too.
Mhm.
Yes.
The kids don't even know they're learning, right? They're just watching a fun show and they get so much information without even you having to say, okay, today we're going to learn about, which makes it more organic.
Mhm. And they have books that go along with it as well.
Yes.
And at various levels too. So they have the picture books for the younger kids, but they also even have some chapter books with still some pictures in it, but they're chapter books to then let them read deeper on a certain topic. And then if you're in the car, I've heard many people use the Jonathan Park CDs.
Kids love those. They wanted every single CD, just fascinated with it. And that's creation science. And they make some really compelling cases for creation science. And it's super entertaining and really well done.
And then hands-on, I've seen these came out after my kids, but the Kiwi crates, some of those are right. You're starting mechanical engineering very young with some of those, but it's a great science, hands-on learning tool that parents are even going to have fun doing with their kids.
I like the commercials.
And then, of course, there's still sticker books for science. You can do your biomes, your animals, your who which animal lives in a desert, and you have a desert scene and you put stickers on that scene. But I know there's sticker books by Usborne that also has it ready for you.
Mhm.
So what other curriculum? That's not really a curriculum, but you can use it as a curriculum. What curriculum ideas would you have for science?
We enjoyed the Sassafras Science series for lower elementary. And this is a literature book where you're following the Sassafras twins out on adventures. So they have, I believe they might be up to 6 or 7 now. There's a book about botany, a book about astronomy. They go through each one. And my kids just loved following the twins around on their adventures throughout the globe on these invisible zip lines. And if you want to, you can get the books that go along with it, the lab book and the nature book. But you don't have to. You could also just read it as a read aloud. literature book.
Because reading is in every subject. Can't resist my plug for reading, right?
Master Books has several options on their website, so that might be worth taking a look at as well. And depending on, again, your child's aptitude at the early ages, which one of those may or may not work for you. But really, with the lower grades, for me, it would always come back to the library or a used bookstore or maybe something online, Usborne Books, something like that. Just real books, like Charlotte Mason style, real living books.
And those are the big subjects that we would cover starting in elementary school, but throughout. And we'll get back to those subjects as well when we hit later elementary, middle school, and high school. But we also have to remember the other things that are also fun, but important to add into a homeschool. Things like music, which you can use in every single one of the subjects that we've talked about. I think we mentioned it in math with skipped counting songs. But in your social studies, right? The music from around the world, different countries and cultures and what they listen to.
There's also art that is a common extra in the lower elementary grades, and that can be as simple as, like Kim mentioned, Prismacolors or watercolors. There can be a lot of different ways you just implement art in your natural life. It doesn't have to be a curriculum. It doesn't have to be a extra class you pay for. It can just be using it throughout the day while you're doing your other subjects, while you're doing your family time. Anything can be art.
The crafts that go along with history or science or anything, or the book that you just enjoyed reading in language arts. Draw a picture of what you think that character looks like, or the house would look like, or things like that.
Yeah, you can even link it with science. If you're building a volcano, you're going to explode with the baking soda and the vinegar. You can focus on the art of the volcano before your child blows it up.
And you can focus on the fine arts, because you can play Mozart CDs throughout the day for a week or so and tell your kids, oh, there's whatever it is. And they get familiar with that music, even at a very young age. Or they can, and then a week or two later, you switch to Chopin or somebody else, Beethoven. And the same thing with famous art pieces. They can learn to recognize at a young age famous art pieces like Mona Lisa, and sometimes even differentiate between art styles if you put your focus there. And then when they go to the museum, you can have little scavenger hunts and they can look for things that you've learned about.
And if your family has pets, taking care of pets is always a priority and can be part of school as well. It teaches them responsibility, it's character development, as well as you can talk about what does the pet eat? What does the pet drink? What does the pet need throughout the day to be warm and safe?
Mm-hmm.
That's a great way to do it. And the basics, right? The foundation of life skills of taking care of something else, but also the life skills of at these ages, we're like, you need to brush your teeth. You need to take a bath. Why do we not go play in certain puddles and we go play in other puddles? Learning how to discern safety things or what kind of time limits you may have, different things like that. Kids can learn these boundaries and they're also still really important for them. What other life skills would you all mention for these younger grades?
Well, a fun one is always PE. Can be the nature walks we've talked about. It can be sports. It could be organized sports if that's what your family is interested in or your child shows an interest in. Whether you do it organized or through a homeschool group or just with your family, you're practicing gross motor skills, you're practicing taking turns, knowing how to be on a team, showing concern for others, being kind. Those are all aspects of PE in addition to the physical that the child is learning.
And that life skill of working with other people.
And self-control and determination.
Mhm. Another fun things to add in are field trips. We mentioned that throughout. Field trips go with every subject. And they're fun. And they just show your kids the world is a bigger place. And there's so much to wonder about. There's so much to explore. And then letting them come home and put a play on about different things they've seen, or dress up and pretend to be that fireman that they went to the fire station to meet. Things like that.
Super fun.
We also believe that character development matters. So we're going to see that through the different aspects we've mentioned here, the sports and things, but we can also teach them which morals, what your family's worldview is, what they believe matters, whether it's the Bible or just character. For all of us here, we would have started with the Bible with each of our kids when they were young, teaching them the morals that they find there following Jesus.
And all these last things that we've been talking about, the PE, the field trips, the dramatic play, life skills, pets, art, music, they can be taught independently, of course, but they really are best used in connection with what you're studying in other areas as a way to anchor the concepts that you're learning about, except for maybe your Bible studies. Of course, that can be a completely separate thing, but it really does touch on all of the subjects now that I think about it, what I'm saying, because it is just all interconnected. So there's lots of crossover here in these things that we think of as extras. They can be like a glue that holds things together.
Sometimes literally, when they do their arts and crafts, they need the glue.
Yeah.
Homeschooling is school. It certainly entails education, especially in these lower grades. The most important piece of the puzzle is you as a parent. You as a parent being present in their exploration of history, of science, of literature, of math. Your presence matters. It is going to take work sitting down with your kids if you're teaching more hands-on things like handwriting or addition and subtraction. It's going to take time to sit down with them, but that time, what you're building is this relationship and this respect and this trust and this beautiful dynamic of your family. And the beauty is we just get to use homeschooling to build our families to be the way we want them. And so we've offered you some suggestions, but each one of you will make your homeschool unique to itself. Have fun doing it. Back to that essence of homeschooling.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode. We hope that you enjoyed the conversation and found it insightful. Be sure to check out today's show notes for all applicable links and additional resources. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe, rate, and review our podcast. Your support helps us continue to bring you great content. Until next time, happy homeschooling.